my pleasure.
Now, I have to start off by saying we are so excited about this tour. I know a lot of our listeners have been counting down the days, but they've also been wanting this tour for a great deal of years now. So I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about how you feel about this tour and being able to come down to Australia for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been obviously hoping to come down for, the past 14 or 14 years. So it feels crazy that it's finally happening. I was, I've been doing so many interviews, and I've been, thanks to the internet, I've been able to stay in touch with our listeners from Australia, and the question has been there all this career, and it feels so weird. It feels like a little bit that I see the 15 years long career in front of me and realizing that, oh my God, and now we are going to bring these people, like, wrap up the 15 years and play songs from each and every album in Australia,
Yeah.
finally. And I am just probably like overly excited, and it's going to be a lot of travels, and there is so much about Australia that I'm curious about. But it's going to be interesting to see who is still, in there, and who is going to come to the show, and how many of the people there know our songs. And yeah, I know there's so much to look forward to. I can't wait.
Yeah, and of course, your band also won a lot more fans a few years ago as well with the single Viral, because I'm not sure if you were aware, but Australia was one of the most locked down countries in the world when it came to the COVID pandemic. And a lot of music fans discovered your song Viral during that time, and it became an anthem for them. So here in Melbourne, we were almost locked down for nearly 18 months. So were you aware of that your song Viral became almost an anthem for music lovers that couldn't get out to shows?
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Nobody told me. Oh, wow, that's amazing to hear. That's also, of course, extremely terrible to hear that you had one of the hardest lockdowns in Sweden. Maybe, as you heard, we didn't have
Yeah.
very hard restrictions. So, oh wow, no, but I didn't know that about Viral. But now I understand why so many people listen to that song.
Yeah, it was one of those tracks where we were suddenly getting a lot of people requesting it, especially on our show, because we were broadcasting from home during that time with our radio show, but there were so many people requesting that track because it like I said, it became an anthem for them, and I think it gave people hope as well, that people thought this has got to end at some stage.
Oh yeah, well, that was the meaning with the song, and obviously we were extremely scared. And
Yep.
writing music and doing something creative about the thoughts and especially fears is a very, very great way to process different emotions. So I'm glad it went through to the listeners, and that people felt what we felt as well at the time.
Yeah, so many of your songs do that. So many songs, when you listen to your music, they have meanings there that we can all take into our everyday lives as well. Is that something that you're aware of when you're songwriting, that there might be other metaphors in those songs, and that those songs might actually be helping people in everyday life?
Well, I mean, when I started to write songs and creating different topics for the songs, for me personally, being mostly like lyricist and yeah, vocal melody songwriter, top liner as we are called, it was a very huge force. It was the biggest force in creating music to begin with. It was to like get some kind of message through, and emotion, obviously. But it wasn't necessarily that I was, or me and Olaf, who is the main composers in the band, that we were like realizing that it would touch other people, because as an artist it's really hard to know exactly what someone else is going to feel. And also sometimes you feel like, well, maybe people are not going to feel what we feel, but I think like emotional connection is the biggest energy in the world, and I think that's what keeps us connected and keeps life interesting, actually. And also, like, it's really nice to be one of those people who it's harder sometimes to talk. It's easier sometimes to talk through music.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt when I grew up listening to other bands and artists. I felt I got touched by their music. So of course, somewhere in the back of my head, I was like thinking that maybe somebody else is going to understand what we are singing about and what we want to, express with our music. It's more than just making cool sounds, basically.
Yeah.
Like you say, if you listen to the lyrics and you feel the energy behind the track and the message, and that's how you connect with other people. And that's the reason we go on tour, and we have people who still wants to come to our shows. And I'm very happy to hear and to meet the fans. That's where I am able to hear their story, or if you tell it to me now, that's when you like realize for real that it made a difference.
I think you'll find you'll have a lot of people here in Australia that want to meet you. I know when we gave out the news on our show that you were touring, we actually had people ringing our show crying that they were so excited that you were finally coming here. So I think you'll have a lot of fans that want to meet you here.
Oh, wow, I can't wait. And it's funny, like it can also be some kind of, for me, it's going to feel, it can be like you said, new fans or somebody who's been aware since our first album, and it's going to be like some kind of nostalgic trip. That happens nowadays, which also makes me very like aware of time, that someone tells me I was 10 years old when I started listening to your music and now they're 24 or 25, and I was like, okay, I understand. But it's amazing how the music can still connect us.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but it seems like you're having a very nice show, and very, very, very nice that you're having that kind of thing where people can call in and talk. I like Australia already. I think I will. I always had some, vision of that. I think I would like it so much that I would maybe consider even moving there. But it's a lot of Swedish people who move to Australia.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. You said you're kind of curious about Australia as well. What makes you curious about Australia?
Everything. The nature, the weather, the people, the culture, the food, the animals. Everything is different.
Yeah.
But we speak the same language, English is not our main language, but it's our second main language. So it's so close, but still so far away. So it's a lot of things that are. It feels extremely, I have to say, extremely exotic.
Yeah.
I also like your music style.
Yeah.
Your taste in music. Yeah.
I was going to ask that. Are you a fan of any Australian bands at all?
I am a huge fan of Sia, who comes from Australia.
Yep.
As an example. She's not a band, but she's a songwriter, and she's amazing. And I've seen you in Eurovision, but other than that, I haven't listened so much to Australian bands, but we were lucky enough to have support bands on the tour, and all of them are obviously like local bands, and I can't wait to, see them live, because I've obviously now started to listen on Spotify, and it's really amazing to hear.
Yeah. You mentioned nature and animals. Are you going to get much of a chance to get out and explore the country as well while you're here?
We have a very tight schedule, unfortunately. That was one of the requests, of course, that we had. Like, please can we play a show and then have a day off so we can, explore. But that wasn't possible this time, hopefully next time. But I am planning to maybe stay an extra week or so after the tour is over and do my own kind of vacation.
Yeah, definitely.
Sightseeing. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have an amazing place just out of Melbourne where I live. It's called Hillsville Sanctuary, and it's kind of a wildlife park, but it's only Australian animals. So a lot of our other nature parks here will have animals from Africa and Asia, but Hillsville Sanctuary just has Australian animals, and it's one of those places where they're actually working to save endangered animals and animals that are almost extinct. So it's not like your traditional zoo. It's more a wildlife park where they're helping animals. So yeah, that's well worth a look.
Wow, I love that. That sounds like I never went to, or sorry, I don't want to support like zoos
Yeah.
because, yeah, for obvious reasons, but like this sounds like a very good thing. We have the same, something similar in Sweden where, like you say, they save and take care of and try to like recreate species which are now threatened, and it's a very good cause. So thanks for the tips. I hope I will have time
Definitely.
to go there. Yeah, it sounds like a very good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, so at least you mentioned before as well that, as you said, you've got 15 years worth of music. This is your first time coming to Australia. How do you put together a set list for a tour like this and kind of touch on all of the albums that you've done over the years?
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, and I mean, the easiest thing would be to have some kind of like voting system where people could tell us what songs they really would like to hear, and then pick the 21 songs which were the most voted. But I think we are going to try to choose, which we actually all are doing also when we play festivals here in Europe. We play mostly the single tracks from each album.
Yep. Awesome.
So that's what we're going to try to do. And so, yeah, at least one or two songs from each track. And obviously maybe a couple of more from our previous album, which is The Catalyst, since that's the one we're kind of promoting at the moment. But let's see if we maybe switch something, just to make sure that we get some song from each album. Yeah, that's something we're gonna try to do.
Definitely, and of course,
I need to call the band.
One of the things as well that a lot of us have loved about your music over the year as well is that you always seem to be collaborating with different bands as well, and we've seen that, of course, this year with a couple of singles as well. And I wanted to ask you about that. What's that like for you as an artist, being able to collaborate with so many different artists around the world as you travel as well?
Oh, yeah. Do you mean like that? Me personally, that I do the guest vocals on with other bands?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, I think to me it's very inspiring because I get like the chance to go into somebody else's world and also see like how other bands work and how they think and what kind of energy, they have. And for example, when I worked with Apocalyptica, it's a band I known long before I started Amaranth. So to me, that was a little bit like a dream and, a little bit surreal almost, because my brother was also the biggest Apocalyptica fan. And then, that I am singing with them it's very strange. But they're not very far away from Sweden, obviously. They're in Finland. But then I worked with like Dragon Force and then American bands, and I think I get a kick out of that, and it's definitely super exciting, and I'm very grateful actually that that people feel like they want to invite me because I am one among few female singers in my genre, and I guess that's why I get so many requests, and I am very happy about it. I'm very glad.
Definitely.
So it feels really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually had Herman from Dragon Force on our show earlier this year, and he was saying that you were one of the best musicians he'd ever got to work with over the years. And when he found out that you'd never been to Australia, he was like, we have to do a Dragon Force Amaranth tour together. He thought that would be absolutely fun to do.
Wow! Well, I would say 100% yes to that suggestion as well. We have to. I mean, this is obviously like a beginning for us to come to Australia, but then kind of, dream about coming more consistently, and Dragon Force would be absolute pleasure to come, bring the tour we made together in the Europe and United States. And I love Dragon Force as well. It's such a fun band, and Herman is super cool. So that would be super fun. Oh yeah, there's so many opportunities, and I really hope this is not going to be the last, the first and the last time.
Definitely.
To Australia.
And Doomsday Party sounded like such a fun song. Did you all have fun putting that together?
Oh God, yes. That's also like one reason when I say yes to different projects, I really, I need to get inspired by the song, and this song made me extremely happy, and it was such a fun track. So I wasn't part of the songwriting, actually. I was only singing these parts, and after they made their own recording of the song, and then they got the idea, because we were making a tour together, that I would be a guest vocalist. And then I did the video, and it was just, I think it was very bold of them to make, a little bit more of this like catchy, poppy track.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a fun track. So I had a lot of fun when I did my parts.
So, at least I know we are running out of time very, very quickly. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to our listeners out there that are so eagerly anticipating these shows? What would you like to say to them?
Well, I would like to say thank you for the communication. Even if it's now I heard so many new inspiring things I want to share with my bandmates, obviously. So thanks for being so open and so supportive. And I hope, we're going to have fun together, and I can't wait to see you. And thank you thanks for the support, and stay tuned.